champion, Jermell Charlo, in a unification fight with the IBF and the WBA world champion, Jason Rosario, at 154 pounds, one of the best and deepest divisions in the sport of boxing. The winner of this fight, without a doubt, will be the king of the super welterweight division. You also have Jermell's brother, Jermell, who will be making the third defense of his WBC title that night against the number one ranked contender in Sergey Derevyanchenko. It's the main event of the first three fights that you will see that night. You will then have a short intermission. There's just 30 minutes. And after that, Showtime is going to bring you another three fights. You know, Showtime is really invested in bringing you some of the best fighters at 118, 122 pounds. And the co-main and the opening bout of Charlo Rosario are really examples of this, because after that short intermission, the first fight you will see will be two former world champions looking to get back in the win column. You've got the former unified champion in Daniel Roman taking on Juan Carlos Payano. This fight is really crucial because the winner of this fight really goes to the front of the line when you talk about challenging for that WBC title. The co-main, another world title fight, as you have the unbeaten Neri taking on his fellow countryman in Aaron Alameda for the vacant WBC title. So the whole night, though, kicks off at 7 p.m. Eastern. That is 4 o'clock Pacific time. You've got 6 fights, 3 fights in the later evening. You've got a unification fight. You've got Jermell Charlo, Rosario. It is going to be electric. You're going to hear from all of the fighters. I'm going to ask them questions. Members of the media, you'll get an opportunity to ask them as well. All we ask is that you select the raise your hand bar there, and we will make sure to acknowledge you so you can talk to the fighters. We're going to hear how they've been training for these fights. Before we get to all of that, though, let's hear from the man who helped put all of this together. He is, of course, the president, the GM of Showtime Sports. Here's Steven Espinoza.
Hey, Brian, thanks a lot. You know, this truly is a one-of-a-kind Showtime pay-per-view doubleheader. Top to bottom, I've got to say, completely honestly, this is the highest quality card I've ever been associated with. You know, over the last few years, there have been a lot of new companies, a lot of activity in boxing. And even with all that activity, all the money and the deals and the companies and everything that they're supposedly bringing to the table, no one has been doing this kind of event. No one else is doing cards at this level, this big, with this much quality. This is an event for the true fight fan. World champion after world champion, a collection of some of the best fighters in the world all on one card. As Brian said, 6 fights, 5 of them world title fights, all on one pay-per-view. And the one fight that's not technically a world title fight, well, that one, Danny Roman versus Juan Carlos Payano, is a matchup between a former unified champion and a former world champion. So no shortage of accomplishments there. So this is how it worked. Following the Jermell Charlo Sergey Derevyanchenko middleweight title fight, there'll be a 30-minute intermission. There'll be a live recap preview show during that intermission, which will be hosted by, from CBS Sports and Showtime's own morning combat show, Brian Campbell and Luke Thomas. Then in the second part of the card, you know, there's really no other way to describe it. It's really a card full of bangers. You've got former unified champion Danny Roman, your former world champion Juan Carlos Payano, unbeaten former champion Neri, who's coming off a streak of 11 consecutive knockouts, now moving up into a new weight class to take on undefeated Aaron Alameda. You know, and then our main event, our second main event of the evening, like the first one, Jermell Charlo, Jason Rosario. This fight is a matchup of the top 2 boxers currently fighting in the division. You know, we don't need exaggeration or hype or hyperbole. Simply put, this is the best fight that can be made in the super welterweight division. You know, as we discussed in yesterday's press conference, you know, boxing is a metaphor for life. We're all fighting for something, you know, whether it's respect, recognition, accomplishment to feed your family. I think that's what we see on these cards. And again, for these two fighters, Jermell and Jason, a win on September 26th would be the crowning achievement in their careers, an achievement that they've literally been fighting for since they first laced on the gloves. We are producing a variety of preview shows, behind the scenes content. Wouldn't be Lines Only without that. They'll be rolling out content, and so will Showtime. Lots to announce in the coming weeks, but for now, let's hear from the fighters. Brian, back to you.
Okay, boss, I appreciate it, man, and vacation looks good on you. Steven Espinoza, appreciate your time, my man, and he's right. I mean, every last one of these fights really are bangers. So let's start with the first fight that you'll see right after the short intermission, because as he points out, you got two former world champions, both of them looking to get back into the win column, needing that victory to step back into the front of the line to challenge for the world title. It is the former unified champ Daniel Roman taking on Juan Carlos Payano. And let's start with Juan Carlos Payano. Juan, you know, everyone wants to know how your training has been going for this fight and what should we expect when you get into the ring with Danny Roman. Our Felix de Jesus will do the translation.
Buenas, Juan Carlos. Todo el mundo quiere saber cómo ha ido tu entrenamiento para esta gran pelea frente a Danny Roman y qué puede esperar el público para ese día. Juan Carlos?
Yeah, I think he's having trouble hearing us. Felix, Brian, you want to go to Danny?
Okay, so we'll make sure and we'll get the audio situation rectified with him. Let's go to Daniel Roman. Danny, same question to you. First of all, why don't you let people know how training has been going in light of a pandemic for this huge fight, and what should we expect when you get into the ring with Juan Carlos Payano?
Thank you. Everything's been going great. We've been doing a few adjustments with this pandemic going on. But 26 will be ready for the fight.
Yeah. And what should we expect when you two step into the ring?
Oh, you know, he's a former world champion. I'm a former unified champion. So it's gonna be a quality fight against a quality fighter, and you know, we're gonna try to make it our night.
I'm curious, Danny, what did you learn from that loss from Akhmat Daliev? And what do you believe a victory on September 26th? Do you think it will get you an immediate rematch?
That's the goal of the team, you know. But I'm not overlooking Payano. Payano's a great fighter, a quality fighter, like I said, and I'm not overlooking him. First, we gotta get past him, and then hopefully we could get the rematch with MJ and get those titles back.
Let's see if we can bring in Juan Carlos Payano. And Juan, hopefully we got everything worked out, but why don't you let members of the media know how has your training been going for Daniel Roman, and what should we expect when you get in the ring with him? Felix will do the translation.
Juan, ¿está ahí activo? ¿Nos escucha bien?
Sí, se escucha.
¿Ahora sí?
Sí.
Juan, queremos saber sobre tu entrenamiento. Ok, perfecto. Juan, ¿cómo te ha ido en tu entrenamiento hasta ahora para esta gran pelea frente a Danny Roman?
Sí, hasta ahora ha sido un microciclo de entrenamiento muy fuerte. Estamos ya concentrados para eso, y ya que sabemos que vamos con un excelente boxeador, y estamos tratando de tomar toda la estrategia posible para tratar de hacer un buen trabajo y conseguir una victoria frente a ese gran peleador como Danny Roman.
No, we definitely respect Danny Roman. He's a great fighter, but this is an opportunity of a lifetime, so we train hard, and you're going to see the best of Payano for that fight.
Let's ask Juan, if we could, one more question. Felix, you look at his record, he's dropped 2 of his last 3 fights. In both of those losses, he's been stopped. Can you tell us why September 26th will be different.
Okay, we may have lost Felix here, Brian. Sorry about that.
Felix? Okay, no problem. Danny, well, let's get right to the members of the media, because I'm sure they have some questions for him. Chris de Blasio, of course, our VP of Communications. I know members of the media have some questions. Let's bring them in for Danny Roman.
Thank you, Brian. First question comes from Keith Heidick with Boxing Scene. Keith, you can unmute and go ahead, please.
Hi, my question's for Danny. Danny, I know what it was discussed anyway, a fight against Emmanuel Rodriguez. What is your understanding as to why Rodriguez did not take the fight, and how do you view Juan Carlos Payano as a different type of challenge than Rodriguez would have been?
I mean, with Emmanuel Rodriguez, I don't really know what happened with him and with that fight, but like my focus is on Payano right now. He's the guy in front of me, so I'm worried about him.
Well, how do you view Payano at this point in his career, especially with what's happened to him in his recent fights?
I mean, he got I believe two against with Inaui, Neri. His last two fights. So I mean, he lost with big names, you know, with quality fighters. So I mean, a fight's a fight, you know. Anything can happen in a fight, so I'm getting ready for that, and I'm getting ready for fight the best of Payano.
Do you feel he's more dangerous in the sense that this could be his last opportunity against a top opponent such as yourself?
It could be, you know, but like I'm not taking him lightly, you know. I'm taking him serious. Like if I was defending the belt, I was fighting against a world champion.
Thank you, Danny.
Danny, thank you. Felix, let's see if we have Felix De Jesus. Felix
yes,
De Jesus.
I'm back up. I'm back on, Brian. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Can you ask Juan Carlos, listen, he has been stopped in 2 of his last 3 fights. Can he tell us why will September 26th be different against Danny Roman?
Juan Carlos, en tus últimas 3 peleas, en 2 te han parado en seco. ¿Qué puede ser diferente este 26 de septiembre? ¿Qué va a aportar Juan Carlos para esa pelea?
Bueno, va a ser una nueva diferencia porque ya venimos con la experiencia de no hacer el mismo error que cometimos. Bueno, y tratar de siempre vamos, yo digo que una derrota enseña más que una victoria, y hasta ahora hemos trabajado fuerte para eso y sabemos con el tipo de peleador que vamos, que es muy activo en el ring, y estamos tratando de hacer lo mejor posible, trabajar lo mejor que se pueda para hacer para que sea un buen combate y conseguir una nueva victoria.
Well, this is a time to be prepared, Brian. We've committed errors in those fights that we've lost where they've taken me down, but we've come knowing that we're fighting a good fighter in Danny Roman, and we have really, really prepared well so this doesn't happen. You do learn from your errors in these fights, so that's why I'm going to come out a different Juan Carlos Payano you will see that night.
And lastly, Felix, from me for Juan Carlos, does he feel like this is a sense of desperation? This may be his last attempt at getting challenging for a world title, so it's almost a sense of desperation for this fight.
Hay para esta pelea, Juan Carlos, como una desesperación que necesita ganar, es tu última oportunidad para ganar un título. ¿Así tú lo estás mirando esta pelea?
Sí, creo que ya siempre toda pelea le he fajado, siempre he puesto todo mi empeño para conseguir una victoria, pero como esta ya creo que ya posiblemente ya sean ya finalizando mi carrera como boxeador, y estoy tratando de dar lo mejor de mí para salir con buen pie de boxeo.
Yes, I've always fought hard in all my fights, Brian, but especially this one. We're looking at the end of my career. I know I need a great showing, a good showing for the fans here. So definitely, yeah, there's that little extra oomph to give the best of me.
Fantastic. Chris de Blasio, any more questions from the members of the media?
There are. Thank you, Brian. Next question is from Jeremy Herriges with fansided.com. Jeremy, go ahead.
Hi, Danny. Thank you for taking the time today to talk. you looking at your time as champion and now being a former champion, trying to work your way back to get your titles. Can you describe if there's a difference in mindset? Is anything changed with you and your desire to be a champion, and has it done anything different as far as how you approach this fight?
We're being more focused than ever. Like I said, this last fight, this last loss, I don't think I lost the fight. You know, it was a close fight, but I think I took it. But you know, we set our mind on this guy, on Payano. He's a guy in front of me, and we're working as hard as when we were champions.
Is it hard? Is it hard not to look past Payano? Obviously, you want those titles back. How do you stay focused on this fighter and not think ahead to the different steps ahead of you?
I'm not. You know, it's one step at a time. You know, first it's Payano, and then we'll see after that.
One question for Juan Carlos Payano. As far as his time left in boxing, I know at 36, does he feel like a loss ends his career, or does he have a time frame in mind of how many years left he thinks he has in boxing?
A la edad de 36 años, Juan Carlos, ¿tú piensas que cuánto te queda en el boxeo y si específicamente eso de enseñar que todavía tienes a esta edad de poder boxear?
Sí, claro. Siempre, toda mi vida he boxeado. Desde los 6 años he estado en el boxeo y he tenido una buena trayectoria en el boxeo y hasta ahora creo que no puedo todavía conseguir un triunfo más. Y aparte de que para mí es un honor pelear con este gran peleador, va a ser una buena pelea, eso se lo aseguro, porque van a haber dos guerreros encima del ring, dando lo mejor de cada uno y como siempre, dar un buen espectáculo para los televidentes y como siempre dar lo mejor de mí.
I've been boxing since 6 years old. I've given my life to boxing, and it's been a good run. It's been definitely a good run. I respect enormously Danny Roman, and the people can expect two warriors to get down there, the 26 and give their all, and that's what people know that I can give them, and that's what I'll give them that night.
Thank you, gentlemen, and best of luck on the 26th.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thanks, Jeremy. Let's take a next one from Carlos Toro before we move on to our next fight. Carlos, if you unmute, you can go ahead.
Thanks, everybody, and for taking time to talk to us. My first question for Juan Carlos, you mentioned learning from your last couple of losses. I was wondering if you could sort of elaborate a little more on some of the things that you've learned from those two defeats and how you plan to sort of fix that in this fight against Danny Roman.
Juan Carlos, mencionaste que aprendiste mucho de las dos derrotas en las peleas antes de esta. Si nos puede elaborar un poquito más de qué es lo que aprendiste después de estas derrotas que tuviste.
Algo, tener un poco más de precisión y tratar de no desesperarme y nada, y tratar de, como siempre, un boxeador siempre nunca revela su secreto, pero estamos entrenando fuertemente para esta pelea y dar un buen espectáculo, como dije. Estamos fuertemente entrenando, estamos física, mentalmente puestos para esta pelea.
Well, a boxer never reveals what he's going to bring to the ring that night, but definitely I'm going to be more precise. That's something I didn't have in the two losses, and not be that desperate. I found that I was a little desperate in those two fights when I could just be a little more precise and do a better job in those two aspects of the fight.
One quick question for Danny. Obviously coming from the loss to Ahmed Aliev, you're now sort of more or less back to the drawing board as a contender, not as a champion. Have you kind of found your motivations change a little bit throughout this training camp now that you're no longer a champion?
And on the contrary, it motivated me even more. Because I know what my goal is next. Not overlooking Payano, but hopefully after this one we could get that rematch against MJ.
Thanks, Danny, and thanks, Juan Carlos. Best of luck to the both of you on September 26th.
Thank you.
Gracias, Juan Carlos.
All right, thank you, Carlos. Brian?
All right, Danny, thank you very much. Juan Carlos, buena suerte. Looking forward to seeing both of you guys on the 26th. So now we move on to the co-main, folks. And again, another world title fight that we have. And you have the unbeaten Luis Neri taking on fellow countryman Aaron Alameda for the vacant WBC title. And Aaron is here. He's with us. Our Felix De Jesus will do the translation. And Aaron, again, first of all, why don't you let everyone know how your training has gone for this fight, and what do you expect when you get into the ring with Luis Neri?
Aaron, muy buenos días. Muchos quieren saber cómo te ha ido en los entrenamientos y qué es lo que puede esperar el público para
Buenos días.
noche frente a Luis Neri.
¿Qué tal? Buenos días.
Buenos días. Good morning.
Pues hemos estado entrenando muy fuerte. Sabemos que va a ser una gran pelea, una pelea muy dura, pero nosotros estamos listos. Como te digo, estamos entrenando muy fuerte para ganar esa pelea.
We've been training very hard, and we know it's a tough opponent against Luis Neri, but we're ready for this fight. You know, the training has gone very good, and again, we're ready for this fight.
Aaron, let me ask you this. A lot has been written that your unbeaten record has been filled with fighters who are not nearly as skilled as Luis Neri, and that he will walk through you on September 26th. How do you respond to those critics?
Aaron, muchos críticos, mucho se ha escrito de que esa marca que tú tienes son frente a peleadores que no son de la estatura de un Luis Neri. ¿Cómo tú dices que eso no es verdad? ¿Cómo tú contestas esa pregunta?
Pues lo van a ver el día 26 de septiembre, que no soy cualquier peleador. A lo mejor sí he peleado no con muy buenos rivales, pero he tenido bastante experiencia y sé que Luis es un gran rival, es un gran campeón, pero como le digo, yo estoy listo, estoy entrenando muy fuerte y sé que voy a ganar esa pelea.
Well, in all truth, you know, maybe the names that you see there on paper are not the best or not maybe in Neri's class, but when you go and see me on the 26th of September, you're really going to know what Aaron is made of that night on September 26th against Luis Neri, and respecting that he's a great fighter. There's no doubt about that.
My last question for Aaron is, listen, let's be honest. You know, Luis has had some issues lately of making weight. Is there any fear that he won't make weight at all for this fight on the 26th?
Aaron, siempre la gran pregunta frente a Luis Neri, que a veces no hace el peso para la pelea. ¿O piensas tú que eso puede ser problemático para él ese día del 26 de septiembre, que no haga el peso?
Pues eso es problema de él, no es problema mío. Él sabe si va a dar el peso o no. Como te digo, yo estoy enfocado en mí, estoy enfocado en lo que tengo que hacer. Claro, también sé que estoy enfocado en lo que él va a hacer, pero lo del peso no, en realidad no tengo ningún motivo para decir que no da el peso o que no lo va a dar. No sé, es cuestión de él, pero como te digo, nosotros estamos listos.
That's his problem, Brian. I mean, if he makes weight or doesn't make the weight, you know, I'm not bothered by that. I'm focused on what I need to do on the 26th, September 26th against Luis Neri. So I really haven't focused too much on if he's going to make weight or not. You know, I am the one who's going to be ready.
Got it. I'm sure there are members of the media that's got some questions for Aaron. Chris de Blasio, let's acknowledge those folks.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. If there are questions, please use the raise hand function on the bottom menu of the Zoom. Our first one will come from Jeremy Herridges. Jeremy, go ahead.
Hi, Aaron. Thank you for taking the time. Obviously, this is a big step up in competition. I'm curious as to how you've gone about preparing for Luis, and if there are particular fights that you've watched in order to learn more about him as a fighter.
Aaron, mirando que esto es brincando un nivel más grande, peleando frente a Luis Neri, y preguntan de cómo te ha preparado, si has visto video, cómo piensa entonces pelear aquí frente a Neri.
Sí, pues como dices, eso es otro nivel de pelea, pero nosotros estamos entrenando muy fuerte, estamos haciendo también buena estrategia, sí hemos visto bastantes videos, y creo que el día 26 de septiembre se va a ver reflejado todo lo que hemos trabajado para esa pelea y te digo, vamos a hacer una muy buena estrategia.
Yeah, no, definitely it is a step up. We're not denying that fighting a Luis Neri, but strategically we have worked with certain things. We've seen a lot of video on Luis Neri on how to approach this fight. We got a couple of things that we can work on, and that's what we plan to do on September 26th against Luis Neri.
As far as what you anticipate, obviously he's got a high KO percentage. Are you willing to trade with him, or do you see this as more of a boxing match for you?
No hay duda, Aaron, que lo que se refiere al promedio de noqueo que tiene Luis Neri es bastante alto. ¿Tú piensas irte golpe a golpe frente a Luis Neri?
Sí, sabemos que es un peleador que pega muy fuerte, pero como te dije, nosotros estamos haciendo una estrategia para lo que él tenga, para ver cómo él sale o cómo él viene preparado. Si viene, pues, no sé, a noquear o a boxear o a lo que sea, nosotros estamos haciendo nuestra estrategia para ganar esa pelea.
There's no doubt Luis Neri is a powerful puncher, but we have to see how he comes out. If he's going to be coming out boxing or if he's going to try to look for the knockout immediately. We have a strategy for that day for him. And either way he comes out, strong or boxing, we're ready for him.
Thank you and best of luck.
Gracias, Adam.
Okay, we'll just take one more here from Keith Idec, a boxing scene, before we move on to our main event. Keith, go ahead.
Hey, Aaron, I was just wondering if you could tell us who is the most difficult opponent you feel that you fought so far and why, and also who was the hardest puncher among the people you fought.
De la gente que tú has peleado, Aaron, ¿quién es que ha sido más difícil y quién es el que ha tenido mejor pegada?
Pues he peleado con varios peleadores que se me han dificultado. No recuerdo uno de ellos, creo que fue Bernache en Guadalajara. Peleamos ahí de su casa donde es él. Toda la gente lo estaba apoyando, entonces eso como que me desconcentró un poco, pero ganamos. Y peleador que me ha tocado con una pegada muy fuerte fue Jiménez, Power Jiménez, un peleador que pegaba duro, pero pues con el boxeo que tenemos le quitamos todo.
Okay, so there was a few guys that were difficult that I fought, but one in particular was Bernacchi from Guadalajara. He was fighting in his hometown. He had the people behind him, but we still won that fight. And probably the person that has hit me the hardest, his name was Power Jimenez, and we still overcame the power that he showed that night to win.
And can you ask him, Felix, how many southpaws he has fought and how he has found fighting southpaws, being that he's one himself?
Debido a que tú eres zurdo, ¿cómo te ha ido frente a otros zurdos en tu carrera, Aaron?
He peleado con varios zurdos y la verdad es que me siento mucho mejor peleando con un zurdo que con un derecho.
I actually fought a couple of southpaws during my career, and actually I feel better fighting southpaws, lefties.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Okay, thank you, Keith. Brian, back to you. We're going to move on to our main event.
Okay, thank you, Aaron, and best of luck to you on the 26th. So now we get, folks, to the main event of the evening that night on September 26th. You got a heck of a night of boxing, and it caps off here with the main event, the WBA, the IBF Unified Champion, Jason Rosario taking on the WBC champion, Mr. Keep Running Your Mouth, Jermell Charlo. We're going to start with their corners because we have the trainers for both men with us as well. So let's start with Chiro. Luis Perez, he is the trainer for the unified champ. Luis, let's start with you. And if you can talk to the people about how training has gone for this fight and what we can expect September 26th.
Hello, how everybody's doing? Hi, Brian.
Good, good. How are you?
Very good. No, training has gone great. You know, everything went exactly the way that we wanted it, and then some. You know, we actually was able to do even through these times, COVID time. We were able to do our training camp, full training camp, the way we wanted it. We haven't had no obstacles whatsoever. Everything being going great. You know, I mean, Jason is stronger than ever, smarter than ever. You know, I mean, we looking forward for September 26th, you know, to show our showcase and to show that we belong in this competition. We know definitely we got a tall order. You know, we got the best fighter in the world at 154 in Jermell Charlo. We understand that, you know what I mean? And we want his position. You know what I mean? He's there. You know, I truly give it to him. You know, he's the man in that weight class. I understand that. And what we want is to prove to the world and, you know, to him and to the boxing world that we also belong in that level.
Fantastic. And joining us as well is the trainer for Jermell Charlo. His name is Derek James. 2 years ago, this man was trainer of the year. Derek James joins us from Houston. Derek, same to you. First of all, tell us how has training been going with Jermell for this fight, and what should we expect when Mel steps into the ring with Jason Rosario?
Well, hello, Brian. How you doing? Training camp has been pretty good, man. We working out every day. It's getting better and better, and he's looking really good. I'm very pleased at what I'm seeing, and it's very early within the training camp. So to see him look so well early in training camp is very good, and we still have 3.5 weeks or so to get better and to continue to look better and to continue to build. So I'm very happy about that, and we're just very pleased. I know we have a very tough um, guy we're facing, but everybody I believe we face is pretty tough as well. So just go in there and do our best to be our best.
Before we hear from the fighters, just a question to you and to Luis. Let's start with you, Derek James. Not only are you the trainer there for the champion, Jermell Charlo, you're also the trainer for the unified champion at welterweight in Errol Spence Jr. So what would a victory mean for you? Because that means you would have two unified champions in your stable.
Yeah, I think that the victory will be beautiful. You know what I mean? I don't like want to think about that. I just want to think about the fact that Jamel will have 3 belts and we have 5 belts in the house. It's beautiful, and it means everything. Because you think about it, it's all about legacy. These are legacy fights. With his fight, it's a legacy fight for myself, legacy fight for himself. So we're looking forward to the best night and to do our thing because he's been really looking good in training camp, and I'm happy.
Luis, I was reading a quote from you, and you said, listen, in your mind, no one can beat Jason because of everything that he's had to overcome from his background, from not only physical abuse, living on the streets as a kid, that he is just that mentally tough. You still believe that?
I do, Brian. And one of my point of view that a lot of people don't understand about Jason that he never did training camp in his life. You know, he was just you know, just training the way whatever way he could train. You know, he come in the last minute to take fights. That changed, you know, in the last fight when we fought J-Rock, you know, definitely change now. You know, we know once again we got a tall order. We know we got the best fighter in the world, 154 in front of us. We understand that. You know what I mean? But everything he has overcome, his desire. You know what I mean? He's once again, is one of my opinions. is the for you to beat him now that he's in training camp the way he's supposed to, eating the proper way. Training the proper way. You had to pretty much no, knock him out to beat him. He's definitely my opinion. I could be wrong. I don't think I am. And September 26th, we're definitely going to show if I was right or not. Once again, I understand I have the best. We have the best fighter in the world in Jermell Charlo. We understand that. You know what I mean? And we just want the chance to prove that we belong there.
Well, I tell you what, it's going to be a fight that a lot of people are looking forward to. Let's hear from the fighters, and Felix De Jesus is with us. Felix, let's ask the champion here to give us just a statement on how he feels his training has gone for this huge unification fight and what he expects when he steps into the ring with Jermell Charlo.
Jason, campeón, cuéntame cómo te ha ido en los entrenamientos y qué puedes tú esperar esta noche frente a Jermell Charlo.
Bueno, realmente en los entrenamientos me está yendo súper bien, estoy bien enfocado, bien preparado, decidido, motivado. Realmente es una gran pelea. Jermell Charlo es un tremendo peleador. Realmente le he estado pidiendo a Dios por los mejores peleadores y realmente me ha estado favoreciendo en dármelo. El 26 va a ser una gran pelea, una guerra.
It's going to be a great war. Dedicated, decided, motivated for this fight. I know what it is to beat a person like Jermell Charlo in this fight. So the training has also been going great, and I'm ready for this fight.
Jermell, same thing to you. Let us know how training has been going in your opinion, and you heard from Jason. What do you expect when you step into the ring with the unified champ?
I'm stronger. I'm faster than I've ever been. Training camp has been amazing. I can't believe that I, got in shape so fast and never really got out of shape. I wanted this, like I said, I make investments within myself. I continue to make investments. I'm a smart guy. I do my homework. So, congratulations to Rosario for getting a chance to fight J-Rock and move up to the level to be able to fight me. And I know what I possess in the ring, and I know what comes out of me whenever I decide to let it come out of me. I'm ready to fight. I'm more ready for this fight than I ever been. I don't got to prove a point as if I had to prove a point in my last fight. I'm excited that they, during this time of pandemic, you had to do things at home and do things and stay away from people, and it was amazing for me. I got a chance to dig deep and down inside. Like I was making investments already, building up certain things that I wanted to do, and it came right on time. And I'm more than ready.
Fantastic. Felix, let's go to Jason here. And if you could ask Jason Rosario, it's one thing to be hungry when you're looking to become a champion and no one knows who you are. It's another thing once you become a champion, you get some money, and sometimes guys get complacent. Are you still hungry going into this fight with Jermell Charlo?
Jason, hay una gran diferencia cuando tú tienes hambre y quieres que la gente te conozca y está buscando un título mundial. Brian pregunta que si todavía hay esa hambre, siendo ya campeón, ya teniendo a donde la gente te conoce, ¿sigue con esa misma hambre Jason Rosario?
Creo que realmente ahora hay más hambre de al principio. Jermell Charlo me ha motivado y ha creado en mí ese gran deseo de trabajar y de tirar para adelante, como decimos los dominicanos, porque sé el gran compromiso que tengo, sé que tengo una pelea dura, tengo la más dura de mi carrera, pero realmente será como le digo y vuelvo y repito, una gran guerra.
Yeah, I wanted to add, Brian, that I'm more hungry than when I acquired the title. I am definitely more motivated. The desire inside, the fire is burning inside of me to win this fight. against, as we know, a great fighter in Charlo. So, like the Dominican people say, we got to keep moving forward, and that's what I plan to do in this fight. And he also added in the last statement that he thanks God and prays to God for the opportunity to fight all these great fighters that he's fighting now.
We're going to go to members of the press here in one moment. Mel, let me just ask you this. I know you told me on my Last Stand podcast that, listen, at 154, there is no one that can stand in front of you. You've already heard Jason say he anticipates this fight is going to be a war. Do you believe that this fight is going to be one of those kind of fights for the winner to walk away as the unified champ at 154?
I mean, that's what's on the line. You know, my legacy on the line, my life on the line. I feed my family this way. This is how I do this. You know, and it's not about what we gonna do and all. When we get in that ring, and they, you know, they understand. They see. It's no secret about how I fight. It's no secret about what I'm gonna get in there and do. I'm dangerous, and I feel even more dangerous now that I'm 30 years old. My mental is there. I'm excited to do 12 rounds. Let's bang. Let's go to war. Let's box. Let's whatever. My capacity is overlapping all of these guys in my division. Like I said, I'm excited that he got a chance to fight, and I'm excited that he's gonna. You know, I've been homeless before. I stepped up before. I've done a lot for myself to be where I'm at, and now I'm way more hungry. The fire been lit in me.
Love it. Chris de Blasio, I'm sure there are a number of media members who've got questions for these champions. Let's get right after it.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Brian. Let's start with Keith Idec, boxing scene. Keith.
My first question is for Jason. Jason, how does Jermell differ from Julian Williams? I'm assuming you feel Jermell is a better fighter, but if you can tell me that also and why you think so.
¿Cuál es la gran diferencia, Jason, entre Jermell y J-Rock? Me imagino que tú piensas que Jermell es un mejor peleador, pero ¿cuál es la diferencia entre ellos dos?
Creo que realmente son dos tipos de diferentes peleadores. Julian Williams es un peleador rápido, pero no es tan fuerte como lo es Jermell. Creo que son dos tipos de peleadores distintos y creo por lo tal tengo que prepararme diferente y buscar la manera de ganarle como lo hice con Williams.
Yeah, no, they're definitely different fighters, Keith. In regards to J-Rock, I think he has a little more quickness, but Jermell is definitely stronger, I feel, than J-Rock, but that's why I had to prepare a little differently this time in fighting Jermell Charlo.
Felix, could you ask him though that he feels Jermell is a better fighter than Julian?
¿Tú piensas en sí que Jermell es mejor peleador que J-Rock, Jason?
Creo que realmente no le quito méritos a ninguno de los dos. Él está en la posición número 1. Él es el mejor. Realmente le he estado pidiendo a Dios pelear con los mejores y me está dando los mejores. Jermell Williams, cuando le gané, era considerado como el mejor de las 154 libras. Y Jermell Charlo ahora mismo es el mejor 154 libras.
Yeah, I don't want to take anything away from the fighters, Keith. J-Rock was a great fighter, and of course he was considered number 1 when I fought him, which is now the pedestal that Jermell Charlo is at now. So, you know, they both have their merits. I wouldn't say which one is better fighter between both of them, but right now Charlo is considered the best fighter at 154.
Okay, thank you, Jason. I also have a question for Jermell. Jermell, what impressed you about what Jason Rosario did against, other than winning the fight, of course, with what he did against Julian Williams?
I mean, he just won. You know, he won. I don't really get into all of that. What impressed me? Nothing impressed me. You know what I'm saying? I know for a fact that I'm ready for this fight. Thank you for asking these questions, and let's move forward.
So one other thing for you, Jermell, related to that. Were you surprised, though, that Jason won the fight? I mean, going in, obviously, Julian was a big favorite.
I mean, a lot of people were surprised, but I actually wasn't. Just knowing J-Rock is nowhere on my level, I feel, and he needed to bounce back from. J-Rock was dealing with a lot. I'm not that type of fighter. I'm a dedicated fighter. My ambition is not the same as all the other boxers. You know, I fight different. Like, I'm not here to down J-Rock. I mean, he at the top. He made his way to the ring for a long time. But Rosario is a different fighter. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen so many styles in my career. You know, I've been boxing since I was a young boy, and I didn't see so many. I didn't been hit. I didn't see so much. I'm different. The reason why
Keith, was that okay? Luis, if you're working with Jason in translation, you might want to work the mute button on there just so we don't interrupt. It's more difficult to hear the other speaker. Thank you. Keith, you have any more questions?
No, I'm good. Thank you, Chris.
All right, let's go to Jeremy Herridges. Jeremy, go ahead.
First question goes to Jason. Jason's trainer talked about how his training habits have changed dramatically over the years. Looking back from the fighter he was in 2017, losing to Gallimore to who he is now as a champion, what else has changed about him as a boxer physically and maybe mentally as well?
Jason, tu entrenador ha dicho que definitivamente tú has cambiado de la manera que tú entrenas. ¿Qué ha cambiado para ti mentalmente, también físicamente, de lo que era cuando era un boxeador en el 2007 que perdiste frente a Gallimore? ¿Cuál ha sido la gran diferencia ahora?
Bueno, realmente cuando perdí de Gallimore no tenía la madurez que tengo ahora. Realmente en base a mis peleas he ido aprendiendo, he ido teniendo conocimiento, madurez. Y realmente mientras más grandes son los compromisos, más dedicación, más trabajo, más enfoque debe de haber.
Yeah, so definitely one thing that has changed is my maturity since I lost to Gallimore in 2017. And as the fighters or the fights get bigger or of more importance, I definitely step up to the challenge. So there's more training being done. There's more focus on these fights coming up.
Next question's for Derek. Derek, I'm interested to hear your take on Jason as a fighter, looking at his victory against Williams versus other fights. How do you assess him as a boxer? And what are some of the intricacies that you see within him as a fighter?
I think he's a good fighter. I think that he's had a gradual progression from when I saw him fight fights earlier, from fighting I forget the kid name from Augusta, Georgia, but fighting him to moving on and fighting J-Rock and fighting a couple guys. So he's getting better, man. I mean, it's just like, we know what we're looking at. We know that him being a champ, he may come in with a different type of veracity, just like Tony Harrison did. Tony Harrison as a champ was a different fighter, so we know we have to come in and be bigger. We have to be better because hopefully he's going to be better. So it's a greater challenge, but Jermell is here to step up for the challenge and look forward to it. I think he's going to be great. It's going to be a phenomenal fight.
Final question for Jermell. Your brother talked about this a little bit yesterday about how he feels unfairly criticized by the media at times, and he uses that as a chip on his shoulder. I was curious from your own career, obviously separate from his, have you felt unfairly criticized throughout your career, or do you use that as any sort of motivation going forward?
We always been doubted. So that's something now that I mature as a man, I don't care about what you media people think. I don't even care who make the rankings. My job is to box. That's my job. That was once my hobby. I've been doing this forever, and that's what I've grown to be. So now I'm a different animal. I'm an ape. Whenever we, look the same, but we not the same. And so the media could criticize and say we haven't done this and done that. Y'all could go back over the box trucks for the years and peep game and see what's been happening. Just like Rosario had to come up in the levels, I did that as well. And I'm in my level. I maintained where it was at because of my hard work and the way I fight, and I'm ready. Like Derek said, all you got to do is put me out there. Put me out there, and I'm gonna go get it for you.
Thank you all, and best of luck on the 26th.
Thanks, Jeremy. I'll take the next question from Reggie Woodson. Reggie, go ahead.
Thanks, Chris. First question for Jermell. You know, Harrison, you guys had the 2 fights, and he showed you a lot of different looks and even some different looks in the second fight. Do you think that experience and solving that on fight night, do you think that's just added to your overall game even more?
Absolutely. I believe that the last 2 fights that I had and the different style that Tony sees, Tony is not a bad fighter, and he deserves to be up there on the top just like he is, because he can punch. Go look at his knockouts. Go look at his ratio. He got power. He can go. I'm just different, and that's what made me come out on a top and made the first fight even close. So with that experience gaining from Tony in the fights that passed that, I believe that's gonna even give me a different edge to this fight.
Great. Hey, you guys are definitely about your brand and Lions only and whatnot. Any regrets in this moment not allowing you guys to promote your pay-per-view debut in a manner that, you know, to be out to the public the way it's normally done?
I mean, I'm doing what the TV, the networks allow me to do, and I have my own stuff going ringside with the Lions only promotion, and I'm striving off that real heavy. I love what I'm doing and how I do it because you get to see the real me. So you know, Showtime is going to pick it up. I mean, they got other fights that they have to put and promote as well. So Showtime is doing an awesome job to me. It's not our fault that we're in a stage in a pandemic right now. It's not our fault that we're fighting for justice for you know, our African American community, and you know, we have a lot to I'm fighting for. At the moment, it's just you know, they could do what they can, and I could do what I can.
Thanks, Jermell. The unusual times for sure with the COVID-19 protocol. So thanks for the question. Yeah, we're going to go to Xavier Porter. Xavier, you can unmute and ask your question.
Can you hear me out there?
Yes, we can.
First off, RIP John Thompson and RIP Chad Boseman. Yeah, Mr. Boseman. First question to Mr. Charlo. With everything that's been going on between you and your brother and social media and everything, and your feelings towards the media, how do you use the competitive drive between you two to come out victorious in this way? Given the fact that you guys are fighting on the same night again. Last time you guys fought the same night, you took a loss, tough loss. Now you're fighting on the same night again, and you're the pay-per-view main event. How do you use this to motivate you to come out successful?
Wow, we've been fighting together all our life. We've been in disputes and different things all our life. It's you know, I love my brother. Me and my brother are back on good terms. Nothing bad about us. We understand. We grown up as men, and sometimes men see differently. And you know, but we don't live together. We don't share too much time together like we used to. And so, of course, that would change a lot. You know, and then I love that because it let me get intact with myself and to love me more and to give a lot more to me.
Okay. Now, Mr. Rosario over there said, you know, coming into this fight, he's looking to just not only come out here and win, he's looking to get you out of there and knock you out. Your thoughts on that?
I mean, isn't that everybody's job? Try to be that they want to go in and win and knock out. You know what I'm saying? That's just, man. That's a man that fights just as well as me. I'm a man that fight. I'm ready to go 12 rounds. If I have, hey, we don't make 12 rounds, you know what?
I didn't hear him say that.
You want to say something, Derek?
Yeah, he said you made that up. He said you made that up.
I didn't say that.
Rosario didn't even say that. I said he was gonna fight hard. You making up shit.
No.
I ain't making up nothing. That's what the man said. I didn't make up nothing. That's what the man said.
Hey, vamos a preguntarle a Rosario. Tú dijiste que iba a noquear a Jermell Charlo.
Yo no dije eso. Yo me estoy preparando.
He didn't say that. I didn't say that. I said it was going to be a very tough fight.
And I respect that. See, don't.
All right. Thanks, guys. We're going to go to our next question. It's from Josh Katzowitz. Josh with Forbes Magazine.
Hey, Jamal. The 154 is such a division full of parity. You beat Harrison, Harrison beat you, Rosario beat J-Rock, J-Rock beat Hurd, blah, 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 on and on it goes. Do you like being part of a division that has so much parity? And I assume you think you're the best in the division. Why do you think that?
I mean, my box rep tell you that, you know, like my records and the things that I've been through. You could count my punch, my accuracy in the ring. There's so many different things that I believe that makes me the best. I can't boost myself up. That's not what it's about. It's not about me boosting myself up. It's about me being that lion that I am. And you put me in that cage and let's see what happens. You know, y'all say I have another lion in front of me and we're going to figure it out.
And Derek, I know you talked a little bit about the Rosario beating J-Rock, and I know Jermell said he wasn't surprised, but were you surprised that Rosario did what he did to J-Rock?
You know what? I think at that point any guy could, you know, have a bad day or, you know, beat anybody, but I saw his fights before and I saw what he brought to the table, so I knew he was going to be very tough. But I was surprised. I mean, I think so, because I know that, you know, J-Rock was a very stern, pretty good fighter, but I think that he really showed out. I mean, he landed those shots that were the right shots to get him out of there or to set it up. So he looked really good. Now, we expect a great fighter because I think that he'll grow and he's grown and matured in the past months or whatever. So I'm looking forward to somebody who's going to be just as good as the guy to be J-Rock.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, Josh. We got time for just one more here. We're going to go to Andres Gomez. Andres, you can unmute and ask your question.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How you guys doing? And I'll start with the champ Jermell Charlo. How you doing, champ? You know, I just wanted to know, man, how much does this moment mean to you? You know, for your brand, for Lions Only, everything you've had to overcome, you know, to get to this level. You guys are, you know, taking in the superstardom, the, you know, articulate, being very presentable. Just what does this moment mean to you and your brand?
Well, I mean, I love what it's doing for my brand, and I hope to continue to build my brand and also find different lions like myself that's out there in the boxing world that's willing to, you know, put up no matter what it takes, no matter what it is. It's not even about that. It's about keep pressing forward. And I know one thing that's what I've been doing for my brand is I won't stop, and I'm gonna continue to go. Like I said, I got a high IQ. Been to college, done a lot of different things, and I know the world of business, and I know this is boxing. Coach always tells me to calm down sometimes, and that's what it's about for me. I'm working on my patience, on calming down. You know, I get ticked off and it just go, you know. But I'm very sharp. You know, because you're laughing because of that. But I'm thank you all for respecting Lions Only. Thank you all for seeing the brand come from nothing to something. And I appreciate myself for being the guy that I've been through from rock bottom, just like Rosario. He's been rock bottom. He's seen the bottom, and he rise to the top, and that's what makes great fights.
Right, and I appreciate what you guys are doing, champ. Now, going to Jason Rosario, just what does this moment mean for you? You know, you have a whole country behind you. They love you right now. You know, I believe it's your first pay-per-view main event. So what does this moment mean to you?
Jason, para ti, ¿qué significa este momento de pelear para Charlo? Tiene un país entero detrás de ti. ¿Qué no puedes decir qué significa esto para ti?
Bueno, realmente significa casi todo para mi carrera. Realmente hay mucha gente que está esperando esta victoria. Hay mucha gente que dice que yo no voy a ganar. Realmente hay mucha gente que dice que va a ser una pelea buena, que no se sabe quién va a ganar. Pero realmente yo, realmente lo que yo más tengo realmente es agradecimiento. Tengo agradecimiento primeramente por Dios, luego por mi equipo y luego por las oportunidades que me están dando de yo poder estar con los mejores dentro del ring y poder enseñar que puedo ser el mejor y que estoy entre los mejores.
Well, of course, this fight signifies a lot for me. It's the most important fight so far in my career. And basically, I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful to my trainer. I'm thankful for the opportunity that's been given to me to fight the best in this division. And, that's where we stand. That this is a great moment for me. Some people think I might not win. Some people might think it's a boring fight. I know it's going to be an electric fight. So we just have to tune in on September 26th.
Okay, thank you, Andres. We're going to do just one more from Xavier Porter. Xavier has a question for Jason Rosario.
Mr. Rosario, quick question. How does it feel to go from being the how you say the hunter to now being the hunted, given the fact that you are the unified champion?
¿Qué significa, una pregunta, Jason, qué significa tú ser el cazador y ahora que alguien te quiera cazar a ti en esta pelea?
Bueno, realmente hemos visto a Jermell Charlo que siempre en su pelea habla de leones, habla de cazador y todo eso, pero realmente yo soy un guerrero y yo lo que sé es pelear. Yo voy a pelear y realmente ese día se sabe quién es el cazador y quién es la presa. Yo no cuestiono lo que él dice, realmente son frases que realmente quedan para la historia, porque son cosas que escuchamos y decimos, wow, se escucha lindo, se escucha bien. Pero realmente el día de la pelea es que se sabe quién es el cazador y quién es la presa.
Well, it's very interesting because, under Charlo's brand, you have the lion and the hunter and all that. But during the fight is that you're going to know who's really the hunter on that night. I mean, I'm a warrior. I'm ready to fight this. And that's what we're going to see. We're going to see that night who really is the hunter and who really is the one that's going to be hunted.
Okay. Thank you very much for that.
Thanks, Xavier. All right, we're going to have one more question from Jim Connellan before we wrap it up. Jim, you're going to have to unmute and ask your question.
Hello, Jermell. You're facing a fighter in Rosario like yourself who's trying to cement his legacy in the division. What do you think about if the fight goes into the latter rounds? Where do you think you hold the advantages and where do you hold the strengths? And are you prepared to go a full, do you think it will go the full 12 rounds? And if it does, where do you think coming down the home stretch that you will emerge victorious?
Well, I'm very strong throughout the whole fight, from first to 12. I'm nothing to play with. I'm serious. I'm a savage. And if that's what it takes and we go that far, then we go that far. Since, they thinking I'm going to be bagging up or moving around. I'm going to be boxing and being smart and setting up traps. I do this really well. I'm not going to give y'all the game plan. I'm not going to tell y'all what I'm going to do, but I'm not playing. This is a serious matter for me. This is a serious matter for America. And I'm going to get ready to put on a show for y'all. And whatever I got to do, that's what I got to do. We go late, we go early, doesn't matter.
And likewise, just Jason, to yourself as well, are you prepared to go the whole distance, the 12 rounds, if it comes down to what could be a split decision? Are you prepared in the latter rounds to go the distance? And what you think are your strengths that is coming down the home stretch that are going to make you victorious?
Jason, ¿está preparado para pelear 12 asaltos? Porque esto puede ser tal vez una pelea que pueda ser decisión dividida. ¿Y cuáles son tus atributos para poder ganar esta pelea?
Bueno, realmente a mí lo que me caracteriza mayor es la fuerza, la fortaleza. Estoy trabajando lo que es la rapidez. Sé que Jermell Charlo es un peleador rápido, es fuerte. Estoy listo para aguantar, estoy listo para dar y espero que él también, realmente. Yo siempre digo que todo es hasta un día, o sea, todo es hasta un día. Los imperios un día tienen que caer, los presidentes algún día tienen que cambiarse. Realmente, este es el tiempo de Dios y este es mi tiempo, realmente.
I do consider this my time. empires fall, presidents fall, kingdoms fall. I mean, I'm known as a fighter with a lot of power, but that's what I've been training for. I know Jermell is very fast, so I've been working on my speed for this fight, and I'll be ready. It doesn't matter if it goes a split decision or 12 rounds. I'm ready for this fight.
Best of luck to both of you guys. We'll be watching here in Ireland with great interest and wishing you both the best.
Suerte, Jason.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Brian Custer, will come back to you to wrap things up.
All right. Thank you very much, Chris, members of the media, for those questions. Guys, we'll wrap this up real quick. Mel, let me start with you, because the week before you and Jason fight, we have Erickson Lubin taking on Terrell Gausha, and all of a sudden the winner becomes the #1 candidate for that WBC belt and says they deserve a shot at the unified champ. And yet Erislandy Lara has come off his victory and says he deserves the shot. If you become victorious, who's next? Is it the winner of Gausha Lubin? Is it Erislandy Lara?
Well, this is the hottest division. And I don't know who next. I don't call that. That's not, even though I am my own promoter and my own boss, I still have generals and I still talk with a team. And that's not my focus at all. I'm not in, they're luckily that I even watched they fight, so I'm so focused on what I got to do and how I do it that I'll be pulling tricks out the hat on this.
And Jason, the same question to you, Felix. Ask him, hey, the week before they fight, Erickson Lubin, Terrell Gausha will fight. The winner says they deserve a crack at the unified champ. Erislandy Lara says he deserves a crack at the unified champ. Who would be his pick?
La misma pregunta, Jason. Una semana antes de la pelea de ustedes, va a estar peleando Gausha frente a Lubin, también Lara con una victoria. Los tres dicen que definitivamente ellos están en línea para pelear, para unificar el título. ¿Con quién quisieras tú pelear próximamente?
Bueno, realmente, ahora mismo yo quiero pelear con Charlo.
Right now the fight is against Charlo.
Realmente quiero pelear con Charlo. No tengo a Lubin, no tengo a Lara, no tengo a Williams, no tengo a ningún peleador de la 154 en la mente. Realmente yo tengo una pelea demasiado importante para mi carrera. Tengo una pelea demasiado fuerte. Y creo que realmente eso es lo único ahora mismo que estoy pensando, el Jermell Charlo.
The only thing I'm thinking about right now, Brian, is Jermell Charlo. I'm not thinking of Gausha, Lubin, or Lara. Right now, my toughest fight is the one that I'm going to have September 26th, and that's all I think about.
And Mel, as we say goodbye, we asked your brother the same thing. Can you give us a thought? What do you think about Maul and Darian Vinchenko, that fight?
They keep doubting my brother, and when they doubt him, he a different animal. I know that they talk about experience and all of these things, but they overlook the experience he has. He's a very solid fighter, can box, move, and punch. Very hard hitting, and I see that fight, my brother being victorious.
Fantastic. Mel, best of luck. Looking forward to seeing you on September 26th. Jason Rosario, buena suerte. Looking forward to seeing you on September 26th. Listen, folks, the winner of this fight is the unified champ and the top dog at 154, without question, the best division in the sport of boxing. There you have it. So the night kicks off 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 4 o'clock Pacific time. You will have 3 fights. The main event, Jermell Charlo taking on Sergey Darian Vinchenko. And then there's a 30-minute intermission. And then we come right back with 3 more fights. And, of course, the main event. It is a unification fight at 154. You've got Jermell Charlo and Jason Rosario in the main event. It is going to be one heck of a fight. Certainly thank all of the fighters for joining us, members of the media for joining us as well. Thank you for watching. We will see you on September 26th, Showtime pay-per-view. I'm Brian Custer. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.
Thank you.